And I believe that the best way in which we can see off the threat of Brexit is to bring about a situation where we have a border poll, where people are given the opportunity to vote, and they're asked, which union do you wish to be part of, the European Union or the union with Britain? I think in that scenario, we would get a clear majority on the island of Ireland for remaining within Europe as an all-Ireland entity. And that to me is the most practical and common sense approach to all of this. And we have got to ensure that life continues here as it had been, and that we can continue to travel across the border as we do hundreds of times a day in order to work, to go to school, to see friends and family, for care and responsibilities, to shop, etc. Ireland since 1998, we've seen a dismantling of the border. We cannot allow any element of that to be reinstated.
If that happens, I mean, if a kind of border that would be hard, soft, or frictionless, as someone says, returns, comes back here, what can be the consequences on this area and on this part of the island that you know very well?
The consequences are multi-layered and complex. Those consequences could result in tariffs on trade or on vehicles moving across the border. They could result in us having to show identification at the border. That won't go down very well. It could result in huge queues and lorries and freight that travelled across the border on a regular basis being stopped and checked. It could result in vans and lorries being searched, people have been taken out of their vehicles and searched as well. It could result in an increase in smuggling, and the way a black market always operates around a border, that could be another consequence of it. And I can see no situation whereby we are protected from all of those scenarios without a backstop or without some kind of legal guarantee from the EU that won't happen.
Sure, but do you think that also as a consequences there can be also disorders, new attacks, violences because of, you know, if there are checkpoints or custom points?
Yeah. Well, look, the IRA has gone away. The IRA stood down post Good Friday Agreement. We recognised that we needed a political solution at that point in time, and the IRA have left the scene. However, any kind of infrastructure on the Irish border could result in people taking action against that. So we have to work really hard to ensure that doesn't happen, but the possibilities are there. The violence will erupt as a result of it. Since then, there have been attacks on my family. There have been attacks on my home. There have been attempts on my life. I've lost friends and loved ones due to the conflict.
May I ask you which kind of attempts to your life?
Well, and I've had visits from the police on a number of occasions to say they had information that there was an attempt been made on my life. They wouldn't give me the detail of that, but I know that has happened more than one occasion. But I'm not alone. This is a story that anybody could tell you. That's all very fresh in our mind. We are working very hard to take us away from those days and to create a better future for our children. But Brexit just nearly brings you back, and the realisation that all could happen again. We are not, we've condemned the bomb. We are working all the time to ensure that these things don't happen. Brexit wasn't a direct consequence of it, but it's not helping the situation. Brexit is leading to further polarisation between our communities and leading to nearly the tolerance on racial violence and on discrimination and sectarianism. The tolerance level seems to be dropping. It's not a dream. I think people thought for a long time that it was a dream, but it was a very real political aspiration, and it was an aspiration that's protected in the Good Friday Agreement. But he's not on his own. There are lots and lots of unionist commentators who are looking at the situation and going, we'd be better off as part of a 32 county Ireland. And it's up to us to ensure that we can bring them with us, that we can broaden the debate. I think it would be extremely helpful if the British Secretary of State was to push the button on a border poll. Let us have that debate. Let us explore the pros and cons to Irish unity and see how we can build a new Ireland that works for everybody. And if we could build a new Ireland that would incorporate elements from around the world of best practice, so we could look at the NHS and bring in an Irish health service. We could be looking at the Scandinavian countries in terms of their human rights and equality agenda. These are the kind of things that we can do if we work together and create an Ireland that every single one of us can be proud of, and where everybody's political and religious and cultural differences are respected and maintained.